So, well, I'd also be curious to see that the last data point is 2018. I actually suspect the difference has increased quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 35-40% of men have had between those ages are not sexually active at all. And it's possible that it's increased even a bit for women too. But so you think with Roe v. Wade being overturned that
I feel like a lot
there's
of
like a
women
sex strike or what?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of women are just going to have no sex just to keep themselves from not having a risk of getting pregnant. You know what I mean? And like not having safe healthcare or safe access to abortions, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so do you think that would be state dependent though? Because I mean, certainly in California, you can still get an abortion, whereas if you're in, I think, Ohio, a lot of more Republican states, you know, they had laws that as soon as Roe v. Wade got repealed, it was like a trigger law or something, and then it would be just banned immediately. So you think because of that, women are going to have less sex because Roe v. Wade was overturned?
Definitely, but in those states alone, not in California.
Even in California,
Even
maybe.
in California.
It's a strike.
Yeah.
A sex strike.
It is.
I think it is, yeah. I told my boyfriend I wouldn't have sex with him.
You told, well, hold on, wait. You told your boyfriend you're not having sex with him?
Yeah.
Because of Roe v. Wade?
Yeah.
How's that
Wait.
going?
It didn't work, but
Wait. Oh, okay, so it's not ongoing.
no, but I think
Was it out of the frustration?
yeah.
But I guess why punish your boyfriend for?
Because he's a man.
Because he's a man.
But
and he's capable of getting me pregnant.
But what does him being a man? I mean, how did he
what
contribute?
about him not?
How did he contribute to Roe v. Wade? I mean, is he a liberal? Is it a liberal guy?
I don't think you understand.
But no, explain it to me. Explain.
Is a man. That's literally my explanation for it.
Well,
point blank, he could get me pregnant, and
Okay.
that's not gonna fly with me.
He could get you pregnant, okay? But I mean, but it sounds like it didn't. You've sort of fallen off on this no sex thing.
Yeah, by choice. We started using condoms again.
I see. But I mean, even though you're in California, you don't feel that. I mean, you can still get an abortion in California.
Yeah, but I've had an abortion and it sucks. So I would not want to do that again.
But I mean, I suppose in California, what were you not using condoms before the decision? I'm just trying to understand.
I'm on birth control.
And
so that so that we don't have to use condoms, but now it's just like not worth the risk at all. It's not worth that 0.01% risk. Okay.
And so the change of heart was because of Roe v. Wade being overturned.
Yeah, and it's not just for me, for my body. It's for everyone that's not able to get an abortion in this country. That it's like, what kind of person am I if I'm just going to like still go crazy even though there are other people, you know?
So you feel a sense of collective guilt? You feel like
responsibility and anger and just fucking, it's awful. Like it's awful.
Okay.
It's fucking horrible.
Okay. But so, and what did your boyfriend think when you were like, hey, Roe v. Wade got overturned?
He said, okay.
He said, okay.
He said, okay.
He was on board.
He was on board.
Yeah. So you withheld sex. You were punishing him.
No, I'm not punishing him.
It's sort of a punishment.
There's
right?
no man that I'm punishing. It's the fucking SCOTUS that overturned.
So you're punishing SCOTUS.
I'm not Okay. It's like an act of protest. Okay?
It is an act of protest. I see.
That she's voluntarily doing herself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
we sort of, in our defense, I think we all feel really helpless in this situation.
Yeah.
And anything that we can do is doing something.
Yeah.
Sure. Any thoughts?
And just like having the possibility of putting yourself at that risk, like you don't want to.
Exactly.
But do you feel that way too with her? Do you agree with her? As far as like, would you do a sex strike? Are you scared?
I'm not
more scared
currently
to have
like
sex?
regularly having sex with anyone, but if I was, I would definitely think about how I can minimize and how I can be like protected.
Okay.
To the maximum extent, because like Yeah,
even though
you get
nothing's
pregnant with,
even though nothing's changed in California.
I'm from Arizona, so when
Okay.
I go back,
When you go
that
back,
shit
and,
might not fly.
and there might be a nice little cowboy, you know, in
Yeah, who
Arizona.
knows?
Okay, I see.
I'm
I
just
see.
saying, like in Arizona, that it might not be as
Is it
liberal.
repealed?
Uh-huh.
Is it? What
yeah,
is
I
this
don't really know what
situation
the
in Arizona?
status is in Arizona, but I think it's definitely not very liberal there. So
Yeah, I think. Did it? I feel like is it a
I think it's,
flips?
yeah, I think it
Kind
was
of?
red and then it
I don't
went
know.
blue.
Samantha, did you give your
Not
take
sure.
on this?
No comment.
No comment. No comment. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So, I'm still kind of curious about the sex strike thing. So, do you think that like other women should have a sex strike and just not, because of Roe v. Wade being overturned, just, hey, sorry, buddy, if they're in a relationship, just no more sex, or additional precautions?
What was the question?
So you said that when Roe v. Wade got overturned, you're like,
Mhm.
you told your boyfriend, hey, because of Roe v. Wade being overturned, I don't want to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, have you ever paid for a Plan B for a girl? It's $50.
hold up, let me see what I got in here.
No, that's okay.
I have, it's an option 2. Chris, can you zoom in on that? It's maybe a bit overexposed. I have an option 2. That's the off-brand
Yeah.
Plan B, but just in case, just in case. But
Love.
I think I've paid for a Plan B before. Yeah. By the way, we can talk about uncomfortable topics.
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of the comments being like, oh, like she thinks not having sex with her boyfriend is like gonna affect SCOTUS. Like, it's not about that. It's about doing something, like what Coco said. It's about doing something, and that's like, I'm not gonna go into it, but that's not the only thing I'm doing. Like,
sure,
there's
yeah.
many levels to ways that you can speak out and act against such a thing, like the government being
Okay.
shitty.
I really like that question.
Which one?
Well, we'll
the
pull up the
Roe-
question, Chris. Okay, Stephen Krug, $5 super chat. Will the Roe v. Wade overturn to help the underpopulation growth crisis or hurt it? Seem like there's frequently less people having babies. I mean, that's a very multifaceted question.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, Roe v. Wade only applies to the United States, which is a small proportion of
The
the
world.
world. And so, I mean, and also in addition to Roe v. Wade being overturned, it's not, some states still, you can still get an abortion in some states. So long term, I don't think it'll have a huge impact on underpopulation, but I'm happy to turn it to the panel and if they want to give their take.
This is just my opinion, but I think that it could potentially hurt it just because a lot of women are going to be forced to have these children, even if they don't want to, due to the state that they live in. Yeah, I mean, unless they have the money to go somewhere where they can get an abortion, even if it's not safe, then other people are going to be forced to have children that, they necessarily might not have wanted to have, or the instance just was a little fucked up and they just didn't want to have a child with that person, but they still wanted to have a child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it could potentially hurt the growth crisis.
Okay. Samantha?
Yeah, I could definitely see it going a few ways. Maybe people would become more intentional and then they would be, they'd be clear about who they're connecting with, and that could, I don't know, that could make the whole sexual connection like more intentional overall, or people could just refuse to have sex and that would definitely hurt the population. Or there's option 3, people can start to learn Tantra and the male can actually reabsorb the sperm up, and women can have a much better understanding of like when they're ovulating or when they're not. And that's just like deeper body awareness.
Okay. Brooke?
What was, what was the question?
So,
Oh, yes.
Population.
I don't know enough to say anything constructive about, or like to respond to that. So I'm not sure.
Going off of what Coco said, forcing people to do certain things, I think, can also lead to like mental health issues, which also can lead to death. So it could possibly overturn the underpopulation growth if people choose to take like the unsafe route and things like that.
okay,
Right.
cool. Let's see here. So, where were we before we got onto this Roe v. Wade thing?
I'm gonna tell you that.
Chris, can you pull back up the chart? Yeah, we were on the chart. So I think it would be curious to know, like, certainly how this has changed since 2018. It's maybe increased a little bit, but
Is this in the U.S.?
I'm not sure. I assume it's a poll that was taken within the U.S. So